Good day everyone, especially to our instructress, Mrs. Renita G. Guzman. I am Lian Kate Fibolioso from DSN3. Today I will going to discuss about the Pre-Spanish curriculum under the curriculum development in the Philippines. We have to know first what is curriculum development. What does it mean? Curriculum development is defined as the process of selecting, organizing, executing, and evaluating learning experiences on the basis of the needs, abilities, and interests of learners and the nature of the society or community. So we have to take note the process of selecting, and then we have to organize what we have selected and execute what we had organized and evaluate what has been executed in order for us to really validated strong curriculum. Talking about the processes, it includes the processes that are used in determining the needs of learners, and then it is also to develop the aims and objectives for the program. To answer those needs and first, to determine the appropriate syllabus or course structure, the teaching method and teaching materials to be used in the teaching and learning process. Maybe another question would come to our mind. Why do we need this curriculum development? Why do we need to change our curriculum every now and then? What are the motives of curriculum development? First one is religion. Religion would always affect the curriculum because in education, in the curriculum, there is this reflection of the religious belief of a particular country, particular group of learners. Next is political. Whoever in the position would always affect the educational system, would always affect how we organize our curriculum. And of course, the third one, we have these utilitarian reasons. We have to revise the curriculum. We need to develop curriculum for practicality purposes, for functionality purposes, responding to the economic needs for rationality purposes. Fourth is mass education. Education is for all. That is why we have to, or there is this development of the curriculum. Because we want everybody to have meaningful experience of the curriculum. And the last one is for excellence in education. We are doing a lot of revision. We are having this curriculum development. Curriculum is constantly evolving because we want to achieve this excellence in education. We want to be afar from the other countries for us to be able to become a competent or to be able to compete in global market. That's why we are constantly developing, constantly upgrading in order for us to attain the excellence in education. So this time, let us have a short throwback on the curriculum development in the Philippines. Let us have the historical foundation of the curriculum development. Let us start with my topic, the Pre-Spanish curriculum before 1521. The aims of education was for survival, conformity, and enculturation. The type of education was informal, practical training. The barangay played a major role on how our early Filipinos were being educated. What the barangay already practiced and believed in were passed down from generation to generation. The curriculum was then unsystematic, unplanned, and spontaneous. Informal education is what we have. Ideas and facts were acquired through suggestion, observation, example, and imitation. There is no direct teaching, no formal method of information. They did not have an organized system of education. Basically, the education during this era is more on vocational training. They were taught skills in order to sustain life and to adapt to the cultural patterns of the society. During the pre-Spanish period, most children were provided with solely vocational training, which was supervised by parents and tribal tutors, or those assigned for specific specialized roles within their communities For example, the babaylan. Again, the education during this period provided more vocational training and lesser academic. It is because the educational system is more focused on their needs. There was no established written curriculum since blueprint of what children ought to learn is imprinted in the culture of the born of their needs, customs, and traditions. Early Filipinos were taught skills that can sustain their life. Despite the presence of the writing system, there were no books because things important to them like songs, poetry, drama, epics, and words of wisdom had been passed on through oral tradition from past century. So they followed the code of Kalansiaw and Maragtas. They believe in Bathala and other Diyos-Diyosan, the solidarity of family, the modesty of the women, and the children's obedience and respect for their elders, and in the valor of the men. The medium of instruction during that time was alibata or baybayin, conducted by the babaylan, or they term it as tribal tutor. This happened before 1521. We already had our education, but it was not formal, plainly for survival, and we had also this writing system called alibata or baybayin. During the pre-Spanish curriculum, teaching and learning focus on the following aspects: behavior, skills, and communication. Let us talk about the behavior. It engaged with the oral tradition, which implies values to the children. When we heard the word oral, it means verbal communication like storytelling, sharing their own literature, which have moral lesson in the end. It includes legends, folk stories. Parents and tribal tutors are most likely to provide the oral tradition and instruction. Early Filipinos already have oral literature, which was passed on from generation to generation, originally through an oral tradition. The content of the literature is related to the common experience of people in their village or society. It is more on object of nature, village, food gatherings, work and home, field, sea, caring for children, and many more. This is evident in the most common forms of oral literature like the riddles, proverbs, songs, etc. Skills. Skills which involves practical hands-on activities that develop and enhance physical development. As this education was focused on vocational training, male and female were trained in different ways. Parents trained their children informally. They were taught survival skills and even taught group harmony. Skills taught would vary on their industry and location, whether highland, lowland, or along seashore. Father trained their sons in hunting, carpentry, agriculture, shipbuilding, and mining. Mothers also educate their daughters in housekeeping, weaving, basket making, and other agricultural activities. Communication. People in this era usually write in stones and wood. Implies the use of traditional way of writing and reading, so-called baybayin, or also known as alibata. During this early period, almost everyone in the society, male or female, knows how to read and write. They have their own method of writing. They write from top to bottom and read it from left to right. The methods of education during this time was observation, practical, and imitation. Observation, it involves show and tell process. We know that the education during this period is informal and unstructured. Parents that time trained their children by showing the process on how a certain task is done. Practical or practice, which involves hands-on physical activities like household chores, farming, carpentry. Just what I have mentioned earlier, parents teach and train their children survival skills. To transmit knowledge, it was acquired through observation, imitation, and practice. First, parents taught their children by showing exactly how things were done, and the young children imitates and follow their parents on how these tasks are done. and they applied it in their daily lives. That is how they enhance their survival skills.